It's a cute item for me.
It is. It is. It'll be nice. It'll be nice. Instagram post. Nice.
What made you give him it tonight? What do you do?
I think he was the best, and Friday night's usually about aces, and we talk about that all the time. And he showed up, big time tonight. And again, 5 walks, and if you want to be super critical, but at the end of the day, it's about putting zeros up and winning the baseball game. When you hand a guy the ball to start the game, and he's such a competitor, and you could see it after he gave up the run. He scored, and he gives up the run in the second inning. Somewhere around the third inning or so, maybe in the middle of that inning, kind of hit another gear. It looked like he found his changeup. The changeup was working, but better command. He looked more like himself, and he started to roll. But he was really good tonight. I mean, you get through 5, 1 run against a very good Vanderbilt team, and 2 hits, 1 run. It's hard to argue with that.
Looks like McCall's one's found it a little bit the last couple of weeks.
He really has, and fills up the strike zone. The fastball's gone up a tick. The cutter's been up a tick. I think he's feeling good. And sometimes it's hard. You kind of try to find your niche, and we were trying to do some different things with him, but to try to put him a little more, trying to figure out the bullpen and trying to change a few roles around. He's another guy that can come in late in the game, and he's done it. Did it last weekend, did it tonight. That can finish it, but get you off the field. He throws a ton of strikes, but he's not just a strike thrower. There's a lot of swing and miss in his stuff.
Mason flattened out a little bit there in the third inning.
I think he just ran out of juice. Just ran. And it can happen to guys. And I think the command went a little bit. I thought he started to press a little bit, and then after the home run, you could tell he just kind of the tank was empty, and we had to go a different direction.
You guys have gotten off to a lot of fast starts this year, but what did it mean to be able to not only finish, but to be able to do that against the top 10 team tonight?
Well, they're good, and statistically, not taking anything away from their offense, but they can really, really pitch. And Thompson, I think, is really good. One of those aces in the Friday night that you knew you're going to be in a battle, and we were. And you hope that maybe you can run into a couple, and we did. And then the other thing is to be able to try to bunch the innings together. They threw it in the zone better than we did. They only walked 3, but we got 3 HBPs. A couple wild pitch pass balls. We were able to bunch some hits. Big hit by Furness, I thought. A lot of guys offensively had pretty good nights.
What's been the key to him getting after lefties a little better?
It's been good though. Obviously, Tuesday night, big swing, but he hit a big home run off Becker, South Carolina. The numbers are climbing, and I think probably the biggest thing, and he may say something different, but I think he would probably say even that he's been so good hitting the ball the other way, righty or lefty, facing left on left, you have to be able to do that. That's why I think Sanford's able to handle him. Like, he can still pull the ball, but he can still hit the ball the other way like he did tonight with the double. So, I think the left-handers, the key is to be able to have that, kind of in your swing. And he worked so hard this fall doing that, not just against left-handers, but against everybody being able to use the other side of the field. And he's been really good at it.
Thoughts on Doug getting called up, and I guess he'd start tomorrow.
Yeah. He's starting tomorrow?
Yeah.
Is it really? Okay.
Doubleheader, he's starting game 2.
Good. I didn't know that. We heard he got up, and he's probably going to pitch out of the pen. So, Doug Day. That's I texted him, had a little text back and forth with him. I know he's excited. As a coach, you're always, I think, super excited and proud and happy for the guys, to reach, the pinnacle and obviously their ultimate dream. But he's one that's worked really hard to get there, and because he's not that 6'5" guy that throws 97, and but he's a pitcher and he's a winner, and my hope is that he'll get up there and just be himself, and that's going to be good enough.
How special is it at this time of the year to have complementary ball pitching staff, and then long balls are working, offensive scrapping?
Well, that's what you hope, especially on Friday, because runs are at a premium, and obviously you got to pitch, you got to keep the other team down, but you got to be able to hit some balls, and bunch your hits, because usually you're not going to get a ton. So you got to be able to bunch them, you got to be able to run a couple balls out of the yard, and obviously that happened for us tonight. It was a good night for us.
Thanks.
I got it.